Hi, I'm Pam Walker. Hopefully this records. This is like the third time. So I teach biology. Why I chose this profession, it just this kind of master's fit, kind of what I was looking for. This is kind of a third career for me. My past, I was a microbiologist and then stayed home to raise children, and then coming back to school, this kind of fit that work-life balance that I was looking for. So that is why I'm here. To answer the question, how would I explain the difference between an IEP and a 504 to another parent, teacher, student? I think that it kind of really depends on the person, whether it's a teacher, parent, student, and kind of their understanding of IEPs and 504s. The big differences, I think, IEPs and 504s are governed by two different laws. One is an education law. The 504 is a civil rights law. IEP is a little bit more narrow, whereas the 504 is a little bit more comprehensive. So, for example, with the IEP, you have to have a specific disability of which there are only 13, which affects performance in the classroom, whereas a 504, it's any disability getting in the way of learning in the classroom. A 504 is where you're changing needs to the general education classroom, whereas an IEP oftentimes it's specialized education that will be pulled out of the general education classroom to meet those needs. And then particularly the funding, IEPs are given additional funding, whereas 504s are not. And then that second question, might you be able to apply the information included in an IEP or 504 hand to support a particular student in your classroom? And that I feel like it is very dependent on what the student needs. So the example that is kind of closest to home for me is two of my sons have IEPs for speech. One in particular is very severe. And so the specific support required with his IEP is he's pulled out of class once a week for speech therapy. In the classroom, he sits in the front of the room so he can hear the teacher better, and particularly the teacher can hear him better. One of the things that was a challenge with him is when he was not understood, he would just get louder and louder and louder, and it would kind of turn from a disability into a behavioral issue, whereas he's getting frustrated and louder and yelling. And that really, we worked with the general education teacher as a parent to say, this is why he's having these behavioral issues. And I had one teacher that was very great about when she couldn't understand him, she made him feel like it was her problem. Grant, I'm having hearing problems. Could you please, clarify what you were saying? And I can remember him coming home to me once and saying, my teacher really can't hear well. I have to be very careful on how I talk with her. And so I made him feel good. It made him feel like, how it's the issue with her, not me, when I knew it was the reverse. I think that as a parent, one of the things with IEPs is I like that kind of everybody's on board, the special education teacher, the team, the general education teacher, and the parent. So I know with speech therapy, I would get homework to practice with him on saying specific sounds, specific words. So I think that collaboration to provide support, again, is very intentional on what, or specific on what the child's disability is and what the help may be given to that child. So those are my thoughts.